everyone and welcome to another video. So if you're new here, my name's Emma, this is Beasts, Books and Beauty, and I talk about my many pets, the books I love reading, and the odd makeup look just to break things up. So today is the mid-year book freakout tag, which will be the first year that I'll be doing this tag. And I can't believe it's mid-year already, although I imagine everyone doing this tag probably is saying the same thing, like, why is it June? How is it June? Where is 2021 gone? Regardless of that, it's time to do this tag and I'm so excited. This is a tag that I love watching other booktubers do and I finally get to have a go myself. So let's get stuck into the books. So before I get started, I will link the original creator of the tag down below, and without further ado, let's get into it. So the first question is, what is the best book that you have read this year? So the best book that I've read so far in 2021 has to be Strange the Dreamer. I read this book as part of Strange Along with Book Browsing Blog and co, and I freaking loved this. This was amazing. I'd been aware of this book for a long time. It's obviously not a new release. It's been out a fair few years now, and it's been on my TBR, and I never got around to it. And when I saw that there was a read along for it, I thought, that's the motivation that I need, and let's just get the books and start reading them. I'm loving having readathons and read-alongs. They're making it more fun to kind of get into books. It's just nice to have someone to talk about them with and kind of have someone else going through the progress with you. I'm loving it. So that's what made me read this book. So if you don't know, and I imagine you do know, this is the story of Laszlo Strange, who is an orphan. He loves to learn and he loves to read, and he's obsessed with this unseen city of Weep. And this city, he can't remember, no one can remember the real name of this city. Everyone just has that word replaced with Weep. And he wants to know why, because he can distinctly remember when that knowledge left his head, which is fascinating. And then basically this is his story of being able to find this lost city and learn about it firsthand. And there's 2 books in this duology. That's the puppy going for a sleep. There are 2 books in this duology, Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. I've read them both this year and they were both 5-star reads for me. So this is definitely the best book I've read so far this year. Unsurprisingly, question 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read so far in 2021? Can you guess? Muse of Nightmares. This is the best sequel that I've read so far this year. I've not read many sequels this year, but this is definitely the one that sticks out in my mind. Muse of Nightmares picks up right where Strange the Dreamer leaves off, and it is a totally different book. Still beautifully written as the first one is, but this one's so much more action-packed, and it wraps up all the details in a really satisfying way. The character development is just fabulous. I cannot rave about this book enough. These 2 books have really stuck out to me this year and are all-time favourites now having read them. So definitely the best sequel of the year so far. So question number 3 is a new release for this year that you still haven't read yet. This book was easy for me because it's one that I bought very soon after its release date, and for some reason I haven't picked it up yet and I don't know why. And this book is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Pennon, and this is a stunning little book here. I absolutely love it. And this is following 2 timelines, I believe, where there's an apothecary in the past, which was known for brewing poisons for women who wanted to dispose of their abusive husbands. And then there's someone in the present day that somehow I think these timelines kind of combine. I think that character is a historian, kind of looking into things. This sounds really great to me, and like I say, I bought it right after its release date. I tried to get an arc of it, didn't get it, but bought it right after its release date, and I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but I really want to, and it's so pretty. So question number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of this year. Now, I hold my hands up. I am naff for knowing when books are coming out. Unless another booktuber has mentioned it, or like the marketing is good and I'm really aware of a book coming out, I rarely know of things that are coming out. But one thing I do know that is supposedly coming out this year is a book that I am really desperate for, and this is the next installment of the Maeve Kerrigan series by Jane Casey. So she said on Twitter last year, I believe, that it was due to come out in the second half of 2021. I've not seen any release dates. I've not seen any updates. I don't know if this is going to happen. but I really wanted to. The last one came out, I feel like it was in 2019. It might have been 2020. But I really want the next one to come out. She's started another series, which I haven't read that book yet, but I'm going to. But I really want the next Maeve Kerrigan to come out, and I have no idea what it's called, and I don't know if it's definitely coming out this year, but I'll be really gutted if it's not, because I adore that series so, so much. But that is most definitely my most anticipated release, and I don't even know if it's going to happen. Fingers crossed. So question number 5 is the biggest disappointment this year. So I've read a few rubbish books this year, but they weren't necessarily the biggest disappointment. The biggest disappointment for me was The Coven by Lizzie Fry. Now, I was really excited for this book coming out. I'll pop a wee picture up there. I was really excited for this book coming out. I got an art copy from NetGalley, which I was really, really thankful for. I read it before its release date. It was sold to me, or what I believed it to be was kind of a sort of feminist kind of book. It's basically another version of it's another kind of version of our world where things have gone back to kind of like the Puritan times, where it's very anti-witch, anti-woman. If you're a woman, you're most likely going to be a witch. Not true, but you're treated like you could be a witch, and therefore you're not trusted. Witches are put in camps, they're killed, they're treated really badly. If you're suspected of being a witch, obviously, like I say, you can be killed, your family can disown you. It's not a good time to be a woman. They've gone back to being in the kitchen, controlled by men, you know, not what we wanted. And obviously this is related to the thoughts that you are a witch. And I thought this would be a really, really interesting read, kind of replacing essentially just feminist issues, but with witchcraft. Which I love books about witchcraft as well. So I thought this is great. I'm going to really, really enjoy this book. And I liked the first half of it and didn't like how it turned out. I didn't like the reveal of who the bad guy was. I thought the way it wrapped up was very generic and uninspired. Yeah, I was really disappointed with this book. I gave it a 3-star, I think. It wasn't like it was I expected it to be 5-star and it was a 1-star. Like, it wasn't that bad. It was fine, but it was just fine. And I really thought it was going to be harder hitting. I thought it was really going to get me, and yeah, it didn't. So I'm really, really sad about that one. That's definitely the one that stood out to me as my biggest disappointment. So, oh well. Question number 6 is the biggest surprise of this year so far. Now, I have 2 books for this. I'm a little bit of a cheater. I have 2 books for this. Both of them really, they're my biggest surprise because I expected to like them, but I didn't expect to like them, like really like them. I think they were both 5-star reads for me, and I was expecting them to be 3, maybe 4 a push. But I really liked them. So despite the fact I don't have technically one answer for this, I'm just going with whatever I fancy. So book number 1 that I think was one of my biggest surprises of this year was Of Wicked Blood by Olivia Wildenstein and Katie Hayos. So this is the first book in a new series. I think it's going to be a 4-book series, but I'm not 100% sure. So this is the first book in the Quatrefoil Chronicles. I don't know if I've said that right. But this book was hilarious and heartwarming and exciting and atmospheric, and I just loved it. And no one's talking about this book, and I don't know if I'm just some random one who liked it or if other people don't know about it. And I don't know, I loved it. I really, really loved it. So basically the main characters are Slate and Cadence, and okay, I've just noticed something. There's like really lovely artwork there. That must be Cadence and Slate, and oh, I don't know who that character would be. How bad is that? I'm not sure. There's a couple of potentials that could be. Oh, and there's the quatrefoil at the back. Oh, that's so cool. How have I not looked at this before? Wasted on me. Anywho, the story of this is basically, there's a town called Broome. It's set in France. and it's basically the birthplace of magic. It's a really lovely, sweet little town. I kind of have Hogsmeade in my head a little bit. Little town, and basically it was thought this is the birthplace of magic, and there are like a few families that are kind of really deeply rooted in this town's history. And Slate, he finds out that there's some history of his in the town. He was brought up in an orphanage, and he goes back to the town because he thinks like he's going to get some money from his family, and he kind of causes some carnage in the town. He's not in the best place, and he ends up looting from a crypt. Classy move, Slate, classy move. So in his drunken state, he loots this crypt and sets in motion something that the town was not ready for. And yeah, there's a few families that have to band together to sort out what he kickstarted without meaning to. That's a very, very crappy description of what this book's about. There's a bit of romance between Credence and Slate. The humour is very like Buffy-esque. It's really funny and witty and really, really great. The setting is beautiful. I want to go to Broome. It just sounds like a lovely magical place, and I want to go there. And like I said, I got an art copy of this book. Not this one, I bought it. I got an e-copy, and I bought it as soon as I read it because I was like, I have to own this, and I can't wait for the next one to come out because obviously, this is the first book, and I want to know what happens. I expected to like it. I requested an e-copy, so I did think I was going to like it, but I read it and was like, that's one of the best books I've read in a long time, and I'm really excited about this new series. So definitely one of the biggest surprises of this year so far. The next surprise is of a book that is sitting on my shelves for about 5 years. So if you've been watching some of my other videos, you know I've been doing the Tackle the TBR challenge, which is basically forcing me to read one book every month that's been languishing on my TBR, either on my Kindle, on my shelves, you know, just try and make some movement in some of the books that have been there for a long time instead of them just gathering dust. So one of my prompts was read a book that has been on your shelves a long time and you've never read it. And I picked this one. And this was The Silver Witch by Paula Braxton. Now I bought this, like I said, about 5 years ago, and it was a cover buy because it is so beautiful. And I thought I'd like it. I was expecting about 3-star from it because I thought, oh, it sounds good, it's witchy. Basically the main character, Tilda, has lost her husband and she goes and lives in the little cottage that they had planned to live together. They're artists, or they were both artists. And she goes and decides to live in the cottage that they had dreamed of living in together. And then she feels a real pull from the surrounding area. And there's like two timelines. I love two timelines where the past is kind of starting to meld with the future. And there is a witch from the past that's potentially trying to communicate through the surrounding region. I love this book. Another really lovely, beautifully written, atmospheric read that you could just sink into. I got really caught up in it. I really enjoyed it. It's not fast paced. I really enjoyed this book, and it was another 5-star read for me. And I can't believe it was sitting on my shelves for so long and I didn't look at it really because everything else distracted me and I never picked it up. So definitely a surprise for this year and a great part of Tackle the TBR. I've actually found a new favourite book from it. Question number 7, we're about halfway through now. Favourite new author. I have an idea from favourite new author from the books that I've held up. Obviously the Of Wicked Blood by Olivia Wildenstein and Katie Hayes. I have never read anything by either of them before and now have lots of older books of theirs that I'm going to go and read because why wouldn't I? Also Lady Taylor, and I've already bought the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy and I'm going to be reading that very soon because Lady Taylor is now a favourite author of mine, absolutely. But to add an answer to this one, another double, triple answer scenario, but to add an answer to this one where it's something I haven't picked up before, I'm going to say Laura Bates. Now, Laura Bates is a non-fiction writer about kind of feminist issues, and I've read 2 of her books this year. I've read Everyday Sexism and I've read Men Who Hate Women. And I loved both of them. I thought they were really well researched, really well presented. I listened to both these books on audio, and I've recommended both these books to friends, and I thought they were completely mind-blowing, and I want to read everything else this woman's ever written because I love her stuff. And so yeah, she's now a new favourite non-fiction writer. How many of those do I have? Not many, but it's a name that I will be looking out for because I really enjoy her books. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. Now, there were not many books that I could really choose from for newest fictional crush. The only 2 that came to mind, I know, 2 again, was Laszlo Strange from Strange the Dreamer. So I adore a bit of a geeky, nerdy type. My boyfriend, my fiance, is a complete geek. And I definitely like that. I definitely like the kind of quiet, geeky type who, you know, is a total sweetheart. And he is a lovely guy, lovely character. He's so lovely with Sarai. And it's just like, oh, you're just a total squish. And yeah, he's definitely a new fictional crush, that's for sure. On the total opposite end of the spectrum, we have Dale from Jegadale. This is the newest release by Tilly Cole, and this is a very strange fictional crush because he is part of a brotherhood of guys who were severely abused by a religious sect, and they're all incredibly dark, messed up people. And he likes to murder people in a very frantic fashion. He literally wore an electric collar for years because it's the only way to stop him when the bloodlust hits. Yeah. How many fictional crushes can really be serial killers? I mean, genuinely. But he's such a sweetheart, and he's the classic broken hero trope, or broken anti-hero, really. I love romances with like the broken guy who's got to kind of be healed up by love. I'm such a sucker for it, and Jegadale is definitely that kind of story. He meets a love interest who is just as much of a killer as he is, and it's adorable. Serial killers in love, and it's adorable. So yeah, I kind of have a crush on him too because he's such a sweetie pie, even though he likes to murder people and tear them apart from limb. But he's real sweet. So I kind of like him too. Question number 9 is newest favourite character. And I'm going to go with Noah from Jegadale. So this is Jegadale's love interest, the serial killer female that he falls for in that book. And I thought she was great. She was a tough woman. She had a softer side, but she had a tough woman. She could look after herself. She stuck with her thoughts and her beliefs, even if other people disagreed with them. She'd been through a really dreadful past, but had managed to kind of get herself to a place where she was okay. She was brought up Wiccan, which I think is such a cool aspect of a character. I love sort of Wiccan themes and stuff, things like that. And she's basically a badass bitch with pink hair who goes around killing people. Bad people, but it's pretty cool. And she's part of like a sisterhood, and yeah, I really liked her. I thought she was great, and I'm looking forward to seeing her more in further books. But yeah, I think she's my newest favourite character for this year so far. Question number 10 is book that made you cry. And I am a total crier when it comes to books, when it comes to TV shows, when it comes to movies. I cry at everything. I haven't cried at a book this year, which is unusual for me. The closest I came was Strange the Dreamer. The cliffhanger ending of Strange the Dreamer was a bit of a heart-wrencher. Obviously can't say what it is if you haven't read the book. If you have read the book, you know the scene I'm talking about. Yeah, that one hurt, but there were no tears shed. So my super crybaby ways, and I haven't actually shed a tear this year. So maybe the next half of the year will bring something that'll make me bawl like a baby. Bring it on. Question 11 is book that made you happy. Again, a book that incited a real happy feeling in me. Not many this year stuck out, but I have to go with A Wicked Blood again. It was just such a nice vibe, and I really enjoyed reading it, and I had a grin on my face the whole time. So as much as I hate reusing the same book for lots and lots of questions, this is the honest answer. This is the book that made me happy this year. So here we go again. 2 questions left to go. The next one is, what is the most beautiful book you have bought or received this year? So there are 2 contenders for this book. Again, people that don't like cheating on these things are not going to like me in this video, but hey ho. The Lost Apothecary is just, it's stunning. It's all beautiful flowers and it's got like the poison bottle on it and it's just stunning. I think this book is beautiful. So that is definitely one of the most beautiful books I've bought this year. But I'm also going to bring up this one because look at the shiny. Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is stunning. Like, I'm really excited to read this, don't get me wrong. One of the most beautiful covers I own. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Very, very stunning. I love the blue and the gold. Anything with a bit of shiny, you know? I would have probably held up Circe by Madeline Miller, but it's not in the room. It's in my bedroom because I'm currently reading it. And I think this one just tops Circe just a little bit because of the blue. So those are the pretty books for the year. And we're finally at the last question. What is some books that you have yet to read this year? So I have gotten a video, I will link it up above. It's 21 things I want to read in 2021. And on that list, I have plenty of things I still want to read this year and haven't gotten to yet. But I'm trying to for the end of this month. So I'm filming this in June. And Whatever-thon is well underway. And a few of these books are actually on my TBR for Whatever-thon. If I can actually get myself to stick to the TBR, that's another story. But a couple of those books are Legendborn by Tracy Deon. This is kind of like a King Arthur retelling kind of book. It's been doing the rounds on BookTube and I really want to read it. It's on my Kindle. I just have to pick it up. I also want to read Wolf Song by TJ Klune. It's basically gay werewolves, I think, and that sounds great to me. So I'm really keen to pick that up. It's also on my list to read this year. And this one is another kind of cheat, but kind of not. It's a trilogy. It's the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert. I own Get a Life Chloe Brown. I own it and I want to read that one. And I also want to read the other 2 if I like it this year. So that is 3 books, technically 6 books, but we'll say 3 books that I would like to read by the end of the year. So that is the end of the mid-year freak out tag. Have we freaked out that it's June? Yeah, we've definitely freaked out. How's the reading gone this year? I'm pretty chuffed with my reading this year. I think if I remember correctly, my star ratings are most heftily in the 4-star area. I think most of what I read this year has been 4-star, and there's been a fair few 5 stars that have really been memorable for me. So I'm happy with the way things have gone this year. I think at time of recording, I've read 33 books and my goal is 60, so I'm ahead of schedule. But yeah, it's been a good year so far. So I am excited for the next half of this year and we will come back and have a wee look at how things have gone at the end of the year. But yeah, I'm going to leave the video here. I have to go and pick up my boyfriend and go and do some many other tasks, so I better stop babbling. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to do this tag, please go ahead. And I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.